Welcome to Study Time, a televised home learning program produced by Rwanda Basic Education Board.
Hello students, welcome again to the TV learning programs. I'm Teacher Pasco, your teacher of chemistry. And today I want to invite Senior 2 students for a lesson which is the assessment of unit number 6. We have discussed a lot in this unit, the preparation of salts and identification of ions. We have carried out some practicals, we have carried out or worked out some exercises of calculations, so we did a lot for sure. And today it is the right time for the assessment. Let us evaluate our level of understanding, how we have mastered what we have been discussing in this unit. And we have various types of questions in this assessment. We have multiple choice questions, we have questions involving calculations, some questions which may be based on the practicals. So make sure that you have your book, because you will try them before I give you the right answer, so that you can compare to what you have suggested and check if it is right. So you take your book and the pen, and we start with question number 1, which is the multiple choice. Multiple choice questions, that's what we have here. And question number 1, a solution which can dissolve more solute at a given temperature is called, I repeat, a solution which can dissolve more solute at a given temperature is called saturated. That is A, B, unsaturated, C, supersaturated, and D, none of these. What is the right answer? Multiple choice questions. Question number 1. And as we always do it, I will suggest that if you want to keep these questions, you can use your phone and take pictures. But if you don't take the pictures, or if you don't get that phone to take the picture, you can go on the Rwanda Education Board website and download a book of chemistry for Senior 2 students. You will find these exercises at the end of this unit number 6. So let us choose the right answer. A solution which can dissolve more solute at a given temperature, we have seen that it is an unsaturated solution. If at a given temperature, a solution can dissolve more solute, then it is because it is unsaturated. So the right answer is B. Number 2, choose the correct statement. With increase in temperature, the saturated solution becomes unsaturated. B, the quantity of solute dissolved in a certain quantity of solvent denotes the concentration of solution. The quantity of solute dissolved in a certain quantity of solvent denotes the concentration of a solution. C, both A and B. And D, none of this. Think about it. What do you think will be the right answer? A, B, C, or D? So the right answer is C. When temperature increases, a solution which was saturated can dissolve more solute. And we know that a solution which can dissolve more solute, it is a solution which is unsaturated. So the solution by increasing temperature, it becomes unsaturated even if it was saturated before. So A is right. And what about B? The quantity of solute dissolved in a certain quantity of solvent denotes the concentration of the solution. That's right. Concentration of solution means what? Means the amount of solute dissolved in a given volume of a quantity of a solvent. So it is right, the concentration of a solution. So the right answer is C, because both A and B are correct. So the right answer is C. And we go to number 3. Which of these is a dilute solution? Which of these is a dilute solution? A teaspoon of sugar in 200 milliliters of water. 3 teaspoons of sugar in 200 milliliters of water. Both A and B. Neither A nor B. Think about it. Which one of those statements is right? Do we know the mass of sugar, which is on a full teaspoon? We don't know that. So how can you know if the solution is saturated, if the solution is unsaturated? But then don't be confused. Here they are saying which solution is a dilute solution. What does a dilute solution mean? When we compare the concentrations of two solutions, a solution which is dilute will be the one which has a lower concentration, which has less solute. So when a solution has less solute than the other, we say that it is dilute. We explained this in the previous lessons. So a dilute solution here is the one which contains less sugar. And which one is that? A teaspoon of sugar in 200 milliliters of water, and 3 teaspoons of sugar in 200 milliliters. So when we have 3, the solution will be more concentrated than the one which contains 1. So I guess here we don't have the right answer in the suggestions, but the right answer here must be A. So the right answer for 3 is A. And we go to number 4. Number 4, the temperature at which reversal of solubility occurs is called critical temperature, transition temperature. Both A and B. None of this. And what do we call reversal of solubility? Reversal of solubility. Do you remember what it means? When the precipitate starts to form. You have a solution which is saturated, but at a given time or at a given temperature, if the temperature is reducing, a solution which was supersaturated will start to do what? Will start to precipitate some solute out of the solution. And that will be called the critical temperature or the transition temperature. So the right answer is C. For question number 4, the right answer is C. Next slide. We have questions 5, 6, and 7. So these questions, which of the following is correct? Solubility, which is equal to weight of solvent over weight of solute times 100, and B, solubility, which is equal to the weight of solute over weight of solvent times 100, or weight of solvent over 100, which is equal to weight of solute over solubility, and D, both B and C, you will choose the right answer. Which is correct in the statements we have here, or in the formula we have here. And as we will do for other exercises, other types of the exercises we'll do, today I will not give you a homework. So we will be leaving some questions you will try as a homework. So the 3 questions we have here will be done as a homework. 5, 6, and 7. 6 says sodium oxide reacts with carbon dioxide to give carbonic acid, sodium carbonate, sodium chloride, sulfuric acid. And then you complete the reaction. Calcium oxide, when it reacts with sulfur trioxide, what is produced? A, calcium sulfate, B, calcium sulfide, C, sulfur dioxide, and D, calcium carbonate. You will choose the right answer. And this is for your homework. Remember, you can take a picture of this to keep the questions. As well as question 8, metal oxide react with carbon dioxide at room temperature, B, low temperature, C, very high temperature, and D, doesn't react. You will choose the right answer. 9, iron 3+ ions form a blank space, a precipitate, or form a, you will choose the color of the precipitate, with both sodium hydroxide in aqueous solution and ammonia in aqueous solution. A, white, B, blue, C, green, and D, brown. So you have to choose the right color. And the last, carbon dioxide gas turns lime water to A, milky white, B, red, C, blue, and D, yellow. You will choose the right color. Good. Now let's go to the next type of our questions, the open-ended questions. Distinguish between a saturated and unsaturated solutions. Saturated and unsaturated solutions. What is a saturated solution? A saturated solution is a solution which cannot dissolve more solute at a given temperature. That is a saturated solution. While unsaturated solution, it is that one which can dissolve more solute at a given temperature. Remember, we always have to be specific with temperature, because when you change temperature, you also change the solubility. Number 2, how can you prepare a supersaturated solution? How can we prepare a supersaturated solution? So you have to do what? Let us say we start with a saturated solution, or any solution, but which is not supersaturated. So you have to add more solute, so as to make it a saturated solution. And once it is saturated, in that case you have to increase temperature. Remember, when you increase temperature, you can dissolve more solute. So when you dissolve more solute, a solution dissolves more than what it can normally dissolve, then we say that it is a supersaturated solution. So you can prepare it by increasing temperature and the solubility of that solute. How can a saturated solution be changed to unsaturated? Very simple. How can a saturated solution be changed to an unsaturated solution? Very simple. As I said, you just increase temperature, because we know that when you increase temperature, then the solution can dissolve more solute. So the questions are very simple somehow. Now, what are the factors that influence the solubility of salts? Here I will give you like one or two, and you will state the others. We are saying temperature, temperature, temperature. So temperature is one of the factors. We also know the size, how the size of solute particles can affect the solubility. Smaller particles dissolve faster than larger particles. We know that. And you will list more factors. And as I said, here we have 8 questions. And now I have answered 4 questions. So the 4 remaining are for your homework. Note them down, please. Or to save time, you can take a picture. Okay? So you take the picture. We go to the next. Now we have the questions which need to be calculated, where we have to use calculations. So we have the solubility of a solute at 30 Celsius degrees is 20. What amount of water is required to make a saturated solution of 8 grams of a solute? A very simple question. Try it, please. Take your book and your pen and try it. And the hint here is, what is the mass of solvent we consider when defining a saturated solution? The solubility of a saturated solution. You always have to remember the mass of the solvent we use to define solubility. Okay, good. So the solubility we have 20 grams in 100 grams of water. In 100 grams of water. Now, they are saying that what amount of water is required to make a saturated solution of 80 grams of a solute. Now, for the solution to be saturated, when we have 20 grams, we use 100 grams of water. What do we have to do to change this mass of solute to 80 grams? And if it is changed to 80 grams, it will be in which mass of water? The grams of water. It's very simple, even without using the formula. It's very simple. So you have 20 grams in 100 grams of water. If you want to have 80 grams of a saturated solution, you can see here we have multiplied by 4. So even with the amount of water, you can immediately multiply by 4, so we find it to be 400. Very simple. It's 400. So you can use your formula, there is no problem, but we have so many and easier techniques that can be used. We go to the second question, and I will leave the 3 remaining as your homework. The second question, at 30 degrees, 14 grams of sugar dissolves in 10 grams of water to form a saturated solution. Find the solubility of sugar. Do you remember the formula of solubility? Solubility. Solubility is given as mass of solute over mass of solvent times what? Times what? Times 100, yes. Times 100, so to find the solubility, we use the same formula, and we will find it to be, we have 14 grams of sugar. That is the solute. So we have 14. And it is in 10 grams of water. 10 grams of water. And what do we get? We get 140. So it is 140 at 30 degrees. At 30 degrees, 140 grams of sugar, sucrose, can dissolve completely to make a saturated solution in 100 grams of water. Okay? Good. Now, let us try the practical-based questions. Here we have question number 3, question number 4, and question number 5. You will try them as your homework. You have to always exercise, because we say that practice makes perfect. Remember that. You should always practice. And especially with sciences, if you don't practice, you can forget it very easily. So you should always find that courage of doing more and more practices and exercises. So, which beaker contains unsaturated solution? We have beaker A, beaker B, and beaker C. It is the unsaturated solution. We have beaker A, which is suggested to be unsaturated. Beaker B, which is suggested to be containing an unsaturated solution. And beaker C, which is also suggested, and the D, which is none of this. But as we can see, we have something here. And this, what we have here, is representing the solute, the undissolved solute. And what does it mean? It means that the solutions are saturated. They can't dissolve more. They can't dissolve more solute. So A and B are saturated because they can't dissolve more solute. So the right answer is C. The right answer is C. Okay? Good. And here we have another question which uses a diagram. Look at the solubility graph. Remember, we have used this graph when we were studying the solubility curves and solubility calculations. Do you remember that? Yeah, I'm very sure you remember it. So we are going to use the same diagram, the same graph, and answer these questions. Question number 1, how much sodium nitrate will dissolve at 60 degrees? These are very good questions. I like them very much because they let us check if we really understood. There is nothing of memorizing. If you have understood the technique and the concept, then you can answer them very easily. And you get good marks, good grades. So let us try. How much sodium nitrate will dissolve at 60 degrees? You have some seconds and try the question before I can give you the right answer. Hint, look for the curve of sodium nitrate. That is the one we want to answer that question. So the curve of sodium nitrate is the one in green. Do you see it? For sodium nitrate, it's here. Sodium nitrate. Now we check the temperature where we have 60 degrees. Where do we have 60 degrees? It's here. So we go up on a straight line and we have the point there. And the point there, if we draw another line, straight line, which goes to the axis of solubility, we can find that we have the solubility at 120. So the solubility of sodium nitrate at 60 degrees is 120. And where is the answer? Oh la la. It's this one, C. The right answer is C. Good. The right answer is C. We go to sub-question B. Which solute is the most soluble at 80 degrees? Now we have to find the graph or the curve which has the highest solubility, the highest point on the graph at 80 degrees. Most soluble at 80 degrees. Which one is that? Where is 80 degrees? 80 degrees is here. So if we go up, we find that the points we have, the one which has the highest point is potassium nitrate. You can see its solubility is more than 160. So the right answer here is, do we have potassium nitrate in the suggested answers? Yes, we have it here. D, suggestion D. So the substance which is most soluble at 80 degrees is potassium nitrate. Potassium nitrate. And here, using the same graph, let me go back. If you didn't take the picture, a photo of this graph, you can take it, but I'm very sure you have it because we have used it previously. So here we have a set of 2 questions you will try about that graph. Which solute is the least soluble at 10 Celsius degrees? A, potassium nitrate, sodium chloride, B, C, sodium sulfate, and D, sodium nitrate. And for the other question, 140 grams of solute is dissolved at 80 degrees. Is true for A, sodium nitrate, B, potassium nitrate, C, sodium sulfate, and D, sodium chloride. So you will choose the right answer. This is the end of our lesson, the assessment. This is the end of unit number 6. And I hope to see you next time, starting unit number 7. Thank you very much for your attention and for your participation. See you next time.